What you're doing is not enough, but too little is better than none.
This is your first day in real estate, and I am your real estate sales trainer and coach, James Festini. And this is the program that's going to teach you how to sell more real estate in less time.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am James Festini, the beast, the godfather of prospecting, the head honcho of the Festini Mafia, and the developer of the Festini Formula. The Festini Formula. I was like, that's a lot of titles, James. Well, it's because I got a lot of things on my plate, and you guys have to know where I'm coming from and where we are going. So today I want to talk about, well, let me first do a little housekeeping. If you are interested in my one-on-one coaching, I'm almost to the point where I'm not going to do it anymore, or I'm going to raise my prices to offset my dislike of one-on-one coaching. It's always going to be too cheap, and it upsets me that people don't pay what I'm worth. So it's almost like I'm not even going to do it then. And then, you know, catch me outside. How about that? When you can't afford me, there will come a time. That time is coming. So here we are today, towards the tail end of the year, the last quarter, and it's a Friday night for me, and I am doing my door knocking. I hit 102 telephone prospects today. I spoke to 102 individuals. I pitched 102 people. I approached 102 people to see if they had any interest in selling their property. I was told no 101 times. Actually 100 times. 2 of them turned out to be whatever, other than, which what I would consider to be a lead worth following up, incubation. So what are we at right now? The last tail end of the year. Are you guys slowing down? Have you slowed down during the course of the year? Have you allowed yourself to be complacent or relaxed about your numbers, how many it takes? And this isn't just for cold calling. This is for like whatever you're into. If you're into spending money on, lead generation, spend more money. If you're into making an effort, if you're into networking, network more. If you're into, whatever you're into, do more of it. Now, this downtime is not downtime. It is a good excuse to roll back the clock an hour or two a day and take advantage of those small moments where you can now feel like, I really can't work on outgoing prospecting at this time. For example, the sun's going down sooner, so we can't door knock. And some people might think, because the sun sets earlier, that somehow the telephone is off limits at 7 o'clock at night. No. But whatever. To each his own. But what are you doing? Is it enough? I always have this feeling like if I don't get enough of a workout in, might as well not work out. Is that how you are? Do you say, well, I only got like an hour to make my calls. I'm not going to hit 100 in an hour. I might as well not call. I've only got about an hour to door knock. I might as well not door knock. Don't discount the potential of small pieces, like an exercise routine. When you work out, you can't go to a bodybuilder and say, hey, Arnold Schwarzenegger, which workout was it that got you to the top? Which workout was the one that gave you the great abdominals or the great chest? Arnold would say, it was none of them, but the culmination of all of them. You like that, Arnold? I've been working on my Arnold. But no, seriously, for real, all jokes aside, you can't discount any exercise so much that you don't do any exercise. Don't discount all prospecting because you can't do all your prospecting. If you have an hour, if it's 4 o'clock and the sun sets at 5 o'clock, you have an hour. Go do it. Every sit-up counts. Every bench press counts. Every mile counts. Like right now, I'm about to do a half marathon in about 2 weeks. No, actually, 10 days or so. And I keep thinking, well, if I don't get to do like 10 miles tomorrow or Sunday, I might as well not run 3 today. But if I only have time for 3 today, which actually I might, then why don't I do it? Why don't I just take little pieces and build towards it? Every push-up counts. You're like, oh, I want to start doing push-ups. All right, drop to the floor. Well, I want to do 100. It's like, well, okay, do 100. Well, I can't do 100. So you're not going to do any? Well, I want to start running. I want to run a marathon. What you don't realize is that if you've never run a marathon, you're not going to run a marathon unless you're a soccer player, like a basketball player, or an elite athlete in some other sport. Then yeah, you could just be like, I think I'll run a marathon, and you can pull it off. But if you're average and, of average build and athleticism, you're not going to just jump onto the streets and hit 26.2 miles. No. Talked about this before. I always do the comparison of marathons to what it is that I do, because I've run 7 marathons. I've done it. And once you begin, you know you're ready when you have done what you've needed to do. Yet every little mile counts. So if you don't have time to do one of your distance runs on Saturday, because when you run a marathon, you start off with you walk for a mile. Like I say, couch to marathon. You walk for a mile, and then you come back in, your feet are sore. And then the next day you walk for another half mile, and then you take it off. And then you go the next day, and then you run for 2 miles, and then you take the day off, and then you take 3 miles. It's like this sequential progression of increased amounts to where within 2 or 3 weeks, all of a sudden you're doing 5 miles. And then a week later, you're doing 7 miles, and then 10, and then 15. And then before you know it, you're by yourself on a Saturday or Sunday morning, and you're kissing your significant other goodbye and going, okay, babe, just, if I die, here's my route. And I want to let you know that I'm going to be gone for about 4, 5, 6 hours, and here's the distance. And they think you're crazy. You're like, really? When you put it out on a map, when you lay it out over the course of a distance, you start to realize. Go to a map right now and go from where you're at and then draw 26.2 miles away, and you'll be like, wow, that's far. Yes, it's far if you jump into it on day 1. It's not that far if you keep going farther and farther. And same with the exercises, same with the workouts, and exactly the same when it comes to telephone prospecting and door knocking. There's a discomfort in the beginning. Don't discount little small pieces at a time. Little small segments of prospecting are better than none. If you only have 1 hour, right now, look at the sun setting at 5:30, 6 o'clock very soon. Now what are we going to do? We're going to squeak into 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. You didn't do your calls today? Why don't you do those calls from 7 to 8 p.m.? Why don't you pick up the phones and do your follow-up calls? If you suck at follow-up, I value the sunset. It forces me, early sunsets force me to do the follow-up that we avoid, right? It's Friday night. You're about to go out drinking with your buddies or whatever you're about to do. It's Friday night, date night. Your spouse says, give me 1 hour to get ready. You're like, all right, well, I'm ready. If you're a man, I'm ready. You probably not ready yet, but you know you are, right? Spouse says 1 hour. Kids are on autopilot. 1 hour. Why not bang out your prospecting calls? Go right here. Go to Mojo. If you guys are interested, though, please, if you sign up for Mojo, just a total side note, I'm working more on getting my affiliates to recognize that I'm sending you there. Next time you call Mojo on tech support, say, hey, by the way, Festini sent me, right? You heard of Festini? If you're signing up, come on. If this is your year, you're going to do the prospecting, Mojo. Then. So, we go into the database and we go into Mojo on the go, boop, and then make an hour worth of calls. Oh, well, I don't have my database set up. Yeah, I don't know. What the hell's the matter with you? Why don't you do this? This offer might not last more than an hour. because it's a product that I'm reluctant to offer. But if you go to jamesfestini.com, you don't, for some reason you don't type www. Just go into your browser and type jamesfestini.com/training. On the right hand side, you will see one-on-one coaching, $100. It's 1 hour, one-on-one coaching. A lot of you guys don't need coaching, like accountability or whatever. And you know what? My coaching isn't like that. Pay 1 hour. Click buy now, pay 1 hour to solve that problem. What is your problem? What's keeping you from prospecting? Well, I don't know how to organize my database. I don't know what to do here. There is so much I have learned from taking on one-on-one coaching clients over the last couple of years. You know, I've been doing this podcast thing and YouTube content creation since like 07, 08. I think I registered in 07. I've been doing this for a long time, but I never really offered coaching per se. Maybe 2-3 years max that I've really said, okay, you can call me and pay me to coach you. Otherwise, I was just giving away. And last year, no, it was the beginning of this year, I somehow magically acquired like, I don't know, 10 one-on-one people who paid me more than $1,000 for 3 months to speak to them on the phone with a computer. And that was very different. In the beginning, I would offer 1 hour of one-on-one coaching. You guys, I would get, I'd had 10 or 15 people call me, pay 1 hour. I would solve that problem, and then you disappear. They pay me for 2 hours, and then you disappear. I knew I solved that problem, but it was like going to a personal trainer and working out once, and then like that was it. You still have the membership to the gym, but it's not the same. So I would come in and they solve the problem. So I'm offering this to you. If your only excuse right now, if you could pay $100 to overcome that one excuse, would you pay $100? What is your excuse? I find that the majority of time that people have an excuse to prospect by phone is because there's a disconnect with like, okay, I'd like to call, and the gap between your mouth and your fingers and the screen and the database is a million miles apart. It might as well be, because you just don't quite get the mechanics. So what do? You find someone to solve that problem for you. I mean, what I wouldn't do, like, I've got a question for Grant Cardone. I've got a question for Gary Vaynerchuk. Just one. If they offered an opportunity for me to pay $100 to ask them one question again, I'd do it. Hey, I have this one question. What do you think I should do? I'd be like, do. Boom. I pay 1 hour to ask that question. Have them solve it in depth. Or rapid fire questions. Hit me with an hour and I'll condense, I'll ramble on the entire time. You could just ask a question. I mean, there's so much you need to know. But again, it goes back to not discounting the one item that could change everything. And it's not that it's just one workout, not that it's one call session, but that it's one a day. I've got a one-on-one client today who I was talking to, and I go, so how's your numbers? How are your numbers? Because I'm not an accountability coach, by the way. You do that. Most of the people who come to me, that's not their problem. It's other things. It's mechanics, right? Just like a personal trainer. Your problem is not going out and running. Your problem is you don't know the program that you need to run to go running. You don't go to the personal trainer to learn how to work out. You know how to work out. You need a system. And the Festini formula is a system that I've built over 25 years now of overthinking it. And I believe now I've got a well-oiled machine. I'm on the edge now where I'm starting to get like a little tickle in my throat to expand, to bring on 1 or 2 people under me, team style. It's talked in my ear. I'm against that, right? Because then you start splitting your commission. But I have a feeling that there might be a place for someone to do what I'm doing in some capacity. It's there. But it would be little bite-sized pieces of activity that add up. One brick at a time. One effort at a time. One call session at a time. You only got 30 minutes? great. It's 7:30 at night. You've had like 6 beers since 5 o'clock. You're getting a good buzz, and you're like, man. You're scrolling through Facebook, buzzed on your couch. You're like, man, I should totally call Festini, man. That's my problem. Well, here's the first call you do is pick up the phone and talk to your hottest leads. Who are your hottest leads? Who are your top 10? That's a good question to ask yourself. Who are your top 10? Do you even know what a top 10 is? Who are the people that right now off the top of your head you're like, one of these 10 people are definitely going to list. I've got a top 10 right now, which 5 of them have already said, yes, James, I'm listing with you. $1 million, 800,000, 900,000, $1 million. I've got some serious top 10 going on, guys. What's your top 10? Who's in your top 10? These are the questions that you got to ask yourself just before you go out and do that small effort. James, I don't know what to bring door knocking. I would go door knocking, but I can't X. Well, then here's what you do. You get me as a one-on-one coach, or better yet, join the Beast Mode Lead Gen Prospecting Challenge if you're a self-starter. Go to Facebook, go to Beast Mode Lead Gen, find me there, or find me anywhere, and say, James, I want to join the challenge. If you go to jamesfestini.com/training, the challenge is there. $100, 100 days. What I do is I go live 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a day, and I'm prospecting. I've got 2 phones, this phone right here and this phone right here. This phone's calling, that phone is recording me. This phone is doing Spodio. This phone is out there door knocking with Spodio. That phone's recording me, and I'm out there. Hi, my name's Agent McCompany. I was just calling, and you're watching me. Where do you get access to that? Who's doing that? I don't know. Maybe someone is. What are you doing? One small piece at a time. What are you doing to your future? What are you doing to your family, to your legacy, to your business model when you disregard the small pieces, the sprints? I've said it before and I'll say it again. What I'm doing right now in real estate is an ultra marathon. For those of you who don't know, let me give you a quick lesson in running and distances. When you run a 5K, it's 3.1 miles. When you run a 10K, it's 6.2 miles. Now we move into half marathon, right? When people say I've run a marathon, make sure they know what they're saying. The marathon is a mathematical formula. It's a mathematical number. It translates to one thing. You can't run 5 miles and say you ran a marathon. You can't run 13 miles and say you ran a marathon. A half of a marathon is 13.1 miles. A marathon is 26.2 miles. And a funny thing, you don't know this, maybe you do, but you don't get so crazy about when people do that until they say marathon and you have run it. Once you've done 26.2 miles by foot, you defend that word because it means one thing. 5K, 10K, half marathon, marathon, and then there's the ultra marathon. And then there's the Ironman, Spartan, there's all sorts of stuff. But the Ironman is a combination of the marathon, 26.2 miles, a 112-mile bike ride, which 100 miles on a bike is called a century. Just a little FYI. I've ridden in 2 or 3. I've done 4 or 5 centuries. So, the marathon. What you do in selling real estate is a combination of those 5 runs. Every morning we jump up and we do a 5K as fast as we can. We're on the phone for sell by owners, expireds, cold calls, get to that 100. And then as soon as we get to the doors, now we're doing a 10K. That's like, that's serious work. That's 6.2 miles. We're really working. And at the end of the week, it adds up to a half marathon, right? We're actually doing it. But then at the end of the month, we're doing marathons. It all adds up. A 5K, 10K, half marathon, or marathon. Ultimately to lead us to become ultra marathoners. An ultra marathon is a 100-mile run. Never done it. I've studied it intensely and read several books on it. It's a little bug in the back of my ear that says, James, you can do it. And then the other ear goes, you're crazy, man. Have you looked in the mirror? Have you checked the calendar? Are you crazy? And then the other ear goes, yeah, you're crazy, man. It's possible. What does it take for you to be an ultra marathon runner in the field of business and real estate in particular? One step at a time. A 5K, small little stretch out, and go hit it. What you are doing in that attempt, the finish line for any of these is a listing and a sale and a paycheck. Yes, we're running like crazy. Yes, many of these distance runs, many of these small rewards are not leading to anything, right? When you train for the marathon in particular, there's several programs online where you can go in and you can download them. And training for a marathon is a very lonely thing. You go out and you run, and you run. And if you're not running with a partner, as you start building these distances, I remember clearly many Saturday or Sunday mornings where I get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning because my program says, hey, the marathon's in like 3 or 4 weeks. Today is your distance day, which means that today you're running 18 miles. Go to a map and plot out 18 miles and tell me how, like, whoa. In the comments go, oh, I never realized how far that is, right? Put in the comments, I'm ready to get off the couch. If you're ready to join me, if you're ready to let me take you under my wing, if you will allow me to stretch you and to condition you and to train you and coach you on proper form, gait, hold the stopwatch and go. And then I run again, I go, stop, no, go. And then you run again and stop. What's the matter with you? Why are you doing this? Why are you stopping to check your email at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Do you have any transactions? No. Then what in the flying frick are you doing checking Facebook at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? You've got 3 hours till sunset. How many calls have you made and how many doors have you knocked? Well, yeah, it's okay. Well, you know what? You've paid to run this marathon. You got your license. Now, what do you want to do? Are you in it for the run, for the short run? Let's hurry up and get some business. See, my business strategy is short-term, long-term. I am training to run my fastest 5K ever. I want to run that 5K as fast as I can. I want to run a 10K in under 1 hour. I almost did it once in like 1:04. I'm not a fast runner. But it's my own competition, and that's the one thing you have to do too. Look, in racing and a marathon, sometimes at the end of the race, my kids are like, hey, Daddy, did you win? I'm like, no, you did see there was like 25,000 other people, right? You did see me come by. Oh, well, what did you place? Like, well, I mean, according to the website, it says I placed like 24,300 out of 25,000. Oh, that's good, Dad. Did you get... Yeah, here's my medal. Here's my trophy. And like, oh, Dad won. I'm like, yeah, it's in his eyes or her eyes. Yeah, I won. The competition is with myself, though. That's the thing when it comes to, like, marathon running. You're not going to win. You're not competing against anyone but yourself. You are so set on one number, and that is what's called a PR, a personal record. And all of these little efforts that we plant, getting 1 hour to door knock, getting 10 or 15 minutes to do just 5 or 10 calls. If you have your database set up the right way, you should have your top 10 or 20 or 30 lined up, ready to dial at the drop of a button. Boom. Like right now, as soon as I get off with you, I say, hey kids, okay, football game's going on, okay, boom, bam. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to make one set of calls, and then I'll be done. 10, 15, 20 minutes, do my calls, out. Focus on the follow-up. Focus on the lead generation. Focus on the business. And when I say focus, you're going down to 1 megapixel of attempt. You can't. You got to put your blinders on, people. It is the last quarter of the year. You have to focus. Even if it's the last 10 minutes of the day and you blew it. Let's say it's Friday night, and you spent the whole week and you look back, and if you called me up or you said, James, here's my numbers, right? If you're my one-on-one. On Friday nights, we try to go out there and say, what'd you do this with? Let's see, man, this screenshot. I think I'm going to start doing that Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning. Let me see your PR. Let me see your personal record. Every week we try to get faster. When you run, when you train for a marathon, your goal is not to get slower. My first marathon was 8 hours. My second marathon was like 7:30. My third marathon was like 6:30. My fourth and fifth, each time I shave off a half an hour. My fastest marathon is still 5:20. Not impressive at all. I'm kind of slow. Did I mention that? But I get it done. I finish. And people are like, you finish? Yeah, damn right I finish. I never dropped out of one. Hung over on some of them even, because you get nervous the night before and you start drinking. But when you go into that mentality where you're like, okay, the next one, now I've got this permanent baked in my head that I want to cross the 5-hour marathon mark. I want to get a sub 5. As soon as I penetrate that 5, now I want to do, and that's how it is with real estate. But you can't focus on that on a daily basis. You're running the 10K, you're running the 5K daily. You can't focus on the marathon on a Monday. You got to get the first couple miles out of the way. You got to loosen up your legs. You got to get little pieces. So if it's Friday night and you didn't do enough, strap on your shoes, aka your headphones. Get outside, aka turn on your dialer and start running. Press play on your headset, aka Netflix, if you got enough time, right? Because that's the music that keeps you going. I've told you before, that's how I can stay on the phones for that long. That's how I can do these short marathon prospecting sessions where I go 6-7 hours on the phones. That's because I stack up, 4 or 5 movies. Get to know these formulas that I've developed. And you can go in there and do the distances. So it's Friday night, pick up the phone. Make 2 calls. Tell me, Saturday afternoon, you've got that guilty feeling where you're like, man, the kids say, hey, mommy, let's go to the pumpkin patch. You're like, oh, I can't afford pumpkins. You can't afford pumpkins? Why? Hey, mommy, I want to go into gymnastics. No, we can't afford gymnastics. Why? This is a business. The reason you got into business doesn't matter. Whether you love people or you love money. People said you're great at it. What matters is that you are not suffering in your decision to become a salesperson. Nothing worse than entering into this industry and then hurting. You chose this industry for freedom, for enjoyment, for all of the wonderful benefits that you can acquire by causing yourself some pain. Talk about the marathon. You know what the best part of the marathon is? Crossing that finish line. Actually, right after it hurts so bad. But I cry. Almost every marathon, like, I cross the finish line and I almost cry. And in some cases, like, I have my glasses on and my kids will run out and give me a hug. And I'm weeping like a little girl. And they're like, why? I'm just like, I don't know why. I don't know. Because you're just so overwhelmed that you did it. And you want another, right? Within 2 or 3 hours after the marathon, you're like, Southern California Marathons, register now. And you're like, I want it. You want it. This is what you're hoping to achieve in the industry, selling real estate, is the ability to have what you want. When you came into this business, that's why you came in. I don't want to have anyone tell me what to do or what to wear. Fine. Work your ass off. That was never in the manual, right? When someone told you were going to get into real estate, did they happen to mention that you'd actually have to work really, really, really hard to get where you want to be? Guess maybe they didn't tell you. Well, I'm telling you now. But Monday through Friday, work your butt off. Saturday and Sunday, maybe on occasion. Holidays come around, boom, easy street. Enjoy it. Kids going to the pumpkin patch, they're going to gymnastics, you enjoy it. Work hard, play hard. That is my formula. That is my message to you. Work hard, concentrate on small pieces at a time. Build the foundation and the strength and the muscle and the tenacity and the discipline so that when it comes time for you to run that race, you're already 10 miles ahead of it. Get back to work.
This episode is brought to you by MojoSells.com. Expireds for sell by owners and prospecting solutions along with DNC compliance. It is my CRM of choice because I can set up emails and letters and follow-up campaigns to follow up more efficiently with the leads that I generate. Go to MojoSells.com and make sure you tell them Festini sent you. This episode is also brought to you by Spotio, the perfect door knock companion. Download the Spotio app today. You want more knowledge? Please find me anywhere you consume content. On YouTube, go to James Festini. If you want to listen to my content on iTunes, please leave me a 5-star review. Join the Festini Mafia at jamesfestini.com/training. There you'll find all of my products and information. If you like to make money, get back to work.